Xander Bogaerts has a fractured shoulder. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, May 23rd. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and Xander Bogaerts was placed on the IL with a fractured left shoulder. He'll avoid surgery, but will need significant time for the shoulder to heal. There's no official timeline, but Bogaerts intends to play again this season, perhaps later on in the summer. The Padres have an obvious replacement in Luis Arraez, who will take over at second base. Pretty big blow. Not that Bogaerts has been great this year for fantasy, but he was drafted as a top 100 pick. So let's run through some replacements at both second base and shortstop. And we'll start with shortstop in a points league. Scott, how would you rank Ezequiel Tovar, Luis Rengifo, and J.P. Crawford?
Okay, well, since you're specifying points league, Crawford second, Tovar third. But number one, regardless of the scoring format, is clearly Luis Rengifo, who I think has been one of the most underappreciated players in fantasy this year. His skill set is well suited for points leagues because he strikes out only 15% of the time. But what really makes him valuable and what's been the game changer is he's become this highly prolific base stealer, has already doubled his career high in stolen bases with 12 this year. Ron Washington wanting everybody on that team to run a bunch. And so between that and the low strikeout rate, I feel like Luis Rengifo is basically must roster in points leagues, even if you're not looking to fill a need. And he's quadruple eligible, so you can fit him just about anywhere in your lineup. So really valuable player there.
Let's slide over to second base in a head-to-head points league. Luis Rengifo also on this list. He has 4 different positions, so he is up at the top. We know that. Scott, who would you rather have behind him, Abraham Toro or Joey Ortiz at second base?
Definitely Ortiz. Ortiz is another one of the most under-rostered players in fantasy. His OPS is near 900. He's playing just about every day now. He makes high-quality contact. The high-end exit velocities show that there's plenty of power potential to be had there, and he has great plate discipline. Low strikeout rate, high walk rate, double eligible himself, third base in addition to second. I think Joey Ortiz is a player on the rise, and a great choice if you lost Bogaerts.
Let's slide over to Roto leagues, where if you need a middle infielder, these are some names that are rostered in less than 50% of CBS leagues. Luis Garcia, Davis Schneider, and Wencel Perez. How would you rank those 3?
I like Davis Schneider the most. I'm going to say Wencel Perez over Luis Garcia just because of the playing time issue for Garcia. Almost never starts against lefties. Perez, not quite an everyday player, but he's playing enough. And the Tigers lineup could use him. But my favorite is Davis Schneider. Davis Schneider, sort of like Joey Ortiz. I liked the profile coming into the season, but the playing time was questionable. And just like Joey Ortiz, Davis Schneider has earned his way into a regular role for the Blue Jays. In fact, bats leadoff a lot of the time, doesn't he? Good on base percentage. And this is true in the minors, like great on base skills for Davis Schneider, and also a swing that's geared for power in that he elevates to his pull side. And that is how, you may not be blown away by the exit velocities for Davis Schneider, but with that spray angle, he's always produced good power in the minors last year and certainly so far in his major league career. So maybe he'll be streaky, but Davis Schneider is, I think, a up-and-comer points leagues too, given how much he walks. I know we were specifying Roto, but even in points leagues.
5 names in deeper leagues at middle infield. We have Colt Keith, Mason Wynn, Jorge Mateo, Dylan Moore, and Paul DeJong. Scott, who stands out most from that group? Keith, Wynn, Mateo, Dylan Moore, Paul DeJong.
Keith has been trending up, high batting average, low strikeout rate in May. And of course, top prospect pedigree. This is rookie season. He still hasn't hit a home run yet, and he needs home runs to be worthwhile in fantasy. But I'm hopeful those are coming, given the strides Colt Keith has made from April to May. So I think he would be my first choice of this group. Yeah, I mean, the others aren't that exciting. Mason Wynn could give you some steals, but not much else. I would be interested in Dylan Moore, who's had a huge May, but I'm worried the playing time's about to drop off now that JP Crawford is back. He's versatile, so maybe the Mariners will find other places for Moore to play, but I am concerned about the playing time there. So I'll say Keith is a distant number 1 here. Wynn for now will be number 2, then Moore, but we'll see what happens with the playing time. And then DeYoung and then Mateo.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.